What if I told you that you have a superpower you probably don't even know how to use? Today, we're going to unlock one of the most powerful tools your brain has, metacognition. We're going to explore how just thinking about your thinking can completely change the game for how you learn.
So, let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? You spend hours studying, you feel like you've got it, you know the material inside and out, but then you sit down for the test, the pressure's on, and poof, your mind just goes blank. It is so frustrating, right? And trust me, you are definitely not alone in this.
If that scenario hits a little too close to home, then you've run smack into what researchers call the learning illusion. It's this super common trap we all fall into where we mistake the comfortable feeling of familiarity with something for true mastery of it. This is what leads to those bad study habits and that false sense of confidence that just lets us down when it really counts. But here's the really good news. You can absolutely break out of this illusion. And the solution starts with a simple but honestly pretty profound concept: learning to think about your own thinking. And that brings us to metacognition. See, it's not just about what you know, it's about knowing how you know it. It's this incredible ability to just step back, observe your own mind at work, and then actually take control of your own learning process. This right here is the fundamental skill that separates a novice learner from an expert. Okay, so how does this actually work? A really great way to picture it is with this two-level model. Think of it like an hourglass. Down at the bottom, you've got the subject level. That's you in the weeds doing the learning. Information flows up from there in a process called monitoring. That's you asking yourself, how well do I really get this? Then, from the meta level at the top, you exert control back down. That's you making a decision, like, you know what, this isn't clicking, I need to switch up my strategy. And this whole idea of monitoring and controlling, it's not just some abstract concept. It is a real physical process that's happening inside your brain. It's kind of like your brain has its own internal management team, its own CEO even. No, seriously. Your brain literally has specialized regions that all work together to manage your thinking, just like an executive team making sure a company runs smoothly. So let's meet the team. Leading the charge is your prefrontal cortex. That's the CEO, handling all the big picture strategy and control. Then you've got the interior cingulate cortex, which is like your alarm system, flagging when you're feeling uncertain or when a decision feels a little risky. And finally, the hippocampus acts like your company librarian, helping you monitor your memories and assess how confident you are in them. It's this whole sophisticated, interconnected network. And look, this isn't just some neat brain trick we're talking about. The ability to regulate your own learning is now considered one of the most critical skills for success in the 21st century. It is that important.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the where of metacognition. Now let's get to the really exciting part, the why. How does putting all this theory into practice actually unlock your potential?
Let's look at a classic example. We've all done it. We just passively reread our notes over and over. And why do we do it? Well, because it feels easy. It's comfortable. But that's just the learning illusion talking. The truly effective strategy is something called active retrieval, basically forcing your brain to pull the information out by testing yourself. It feels harder because it is harder, but that struggle, that's what builds strong, long-term memory. And the results you get from using these kinds of strategies are, well, they're staggering. How much of a difference can it really make? Well, get this. One major study found that applying effective metacognitive strategies can add the equivalent of 7 extra months of learning progress over just a single school year. That is a massive, massive advantage. And its power goes way beyond just academics. In clinical settings, there's a new approach called metacognitive therapy. It doesn't focus on changing your thoughts, but on changing your relationship to your thoughts. And the results are just incredible. As you can see from this chart, one trial found it had a 74% recovery rate for major depression, which significantly outperformed traditional cognitive behavioral therapy. All right, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? Let's break it down into a really practical toolkit you can start using like today. It really just comes down to a simple 3-step cycle. First, you plan. Before you even begin, you ask, okay, what's my goal here and what's the best strategy to get there? Second, you monitor. While you're in the middle of learning, you're constantly checking in with yourself. Am I actually understanding this? Is this strategy even working? And you have to be honest. And finally, you evaluate. After you're all done, you take a second to reflect on what worked, what didn't, and what you're going to do differently next time. And here it is, the most important takeaway from all of this. Metacognition is not some fixed trait you're just born with. It is a skill. And just like a muscle, you can train it. With conscious practice, you can literally rewire your brain to become a much, much more effective learner.
So that leaves us with one final thought. This isn't really just about studying for a test, it's about becoming the active driver of your own mind. You have the power to upgrade your own mental software. So the only question left is, what's the first thing you'll teach it?